Hello guys, it's Steven, it's another day, it's another video, and it's another game. They keep coming thick and fast, and soon we'll be free football for a couple of weeks, but not yet. We've got a Champions League game against Schalke tomorrow. We go into that with a 2-1 advantage, and I thought today I'd talk about that game in a little bit more detail. But as ever, I want to thank you, my latest patron, Brody Partington. Brody, thank you very much for getting involved. If you want to get involved into it's www.patreon.com/Esteemed Company. You too can get a shout out, get your name in the credits of the videos, and get involved in my Discord and the Patreon Q&As if you want to. But if not, just keep watching these videos, give this video a like, subscribe if you're new. Let's go into the game. Now, as ever, I'll go through the overview of the game, the team news, all that kind of stuff. I'll get a view from an opposition fan, and this time it's a City fan and an opposition fan at the same time. Ciaran Carlin, the very funny guy off YouTube and also from Football Daily. He's popped on later on, so keep an eye out for that. He'll offer his opinions in Schalke as a Schalke and a Manchester City fan, which is a unique take, but an interesting take. So he'll be talking about the game later, and obviously try and guess the lineup and the prediction and all that kind of stuff, so stay tuned. But we're going to start initially with the overview of this game in terms of what this means at the moment. Now, we go into this with a 2-1 advantage, a 3-2 advantage even, a massive advantage after a crazy game over in Germany where VAR was going wild and Schalke thought they had the game won. We were down to 10 men, and then Raheem Sterling pulled through at the last minute, and it's going to be an absolutely fascinating game. Obviously now it's just this game as well, and then the quarter-final against Swansea on Saturday in the FA Cup before a 2-week break, which we genuinely need. I'm looking forward to that break, even though I hate international breaks, just because the players will be nice and refreshed. Also, let me know what content you want to see me make during that break as well in the comments below. But it's going to be interesting. There's also been some rumours as well from the German press, in particular Bild, who are reporting that Schalke might feel something approaching a B team against City, which is crazy. I'm just reading it now. And manager Dominic Tesco, I'll call him Tesco, the German Tesco, Dominic, basically knows he's under huge pressure, and if they don't win domestically, he could get sacked. They're only like 4 points off the relegation zone, which is crazy, so they might rest a few players and focus on the league, which would make it a lot easier. So that basically sets it up for a Manchester City defeat, doesn't it? That's my typical City mentality kicking in. No, I think we'll be okay. But basically, it's worth pointing out Schalke are in a bit of a mess. And as well, press conference, Pep and Gundogan were both quite lively. Gundogan was talking a lot about his future. Obviously, he's not signed a contract yet. He said this: I would say we are still in talks, but there's no pressure from City. One day there has to be a decision, but I'm very happy at the moment here, especially playing under Pep, and that's the most important thing now. He also added, though, I'm 28, so obviously my next contract will decide whether I'll be here until the end of my career or where I'll be in general. Everybody feels different. Maybe people have an inner feeling for a new challenge. I'm always open-minded for a new challenge, but it's a personal situation. It's not obvious. Sounds to me like he really could be leaving in the summer, potentially. He also might stay. He also might realise... he also might be putting pressure on City for a little bit more money. It's his last big contract. He probably thinks, basically, I've got all the cards to hold here. City will rightfully want him to stay because replacing Gundogan would cost like 50 million. I know people say he wouldn't, but he would. Someone who's comfortable in this system, someone who's getting a bit of form now finally as well, who's got experience of how Guardiola wants to play, who knows this league, who can fill in a couple of different roles. Replacing him would be like 50 million that we don't want to have to deal with this summer, given the fact we're trying to sign a defensive midfielder instead. It'd be a challenge that would be a pain in the arse. So I think it might basically be a situation where City think they'll just cave in, give another 50 grand extra a week just to save themselves spending 50 million on someone else. Maybe one day he'll go in the future, but it's open. It's open, really. It really is open. And Guardiola was also saying about the competition in general. My feeling now, and maybe I'm wrong, is that people are starting to enjoy this competition more, and they think that we can actually do it. If people think the Champions League will be easy because Real are not there, it's because these people still don't understand what this competition is about. A week ago, we didn't expect Paris Saint-Germain would happen, or Real Madrid. Essentially saying, hey, it ain't going to change. It's still going to be really, really difficult because this competition can do those kind of things. And it's probably why he's taking tomorrow really seriously, because Schalke could easily do an Ajax on us. I mean, they're not as good as Ajax, but it could happen. He's not wrong either. On to the team news. John Stones obviously probably not going to be involved. De Bruyne is still a doubt with a thigh. Fernandinho not involved either. Otamendi obviously ruled out with suspension, and Claudio Bravo is still out there. So I'm expecting there'll be a couple of small changes, but in general, the team, I think, relatively picks itself given the players are available. So let's go into the team now. Ederson's going to be in goal. I think that much is a given. Then the back four, for me, I think Zinchenko will carry on with Walker carrying on as well. I think Danilo might come in at the weekend against Swansea. So I think it'll be Walker and Zinchenko. And then I think Laporte will step in simply because he has to, really, alongside Kompany. No Otamendi. It'll be Kompany and Laporte there. Then in midfield, it gets a little bit more interesting, but once again, it kind of picks itself. No Fernandinho obviously means that Gundogan is going to go into midfield there, and that kind of makes sense. He's going to play the number 6 role again. I suspect he'll keep control of the ball pretty nicely as well. Can make an argument maybe for Delp being involved, but once again, I think if he's going to be involved in any of these games, it'll be Swansea at the weekend. And I'm still not sure he's quite in the good books yet of Guardiola in terms of being trusted back in the team, so I don't think Delp will be involved in midfield here. Other than that, ahead of him, no De Bruyne, obviously. Foden won't get a start either, which basically leaves David Silva and Bernardo Silva. So it's going to be the two Silvas. We've got two Silvas, you know. So essentially, it'll be those two there. Then in front of that, for me, I can see Sane coming back into the team because he was so good as an impact sub against them. I think he'll have a point to prove. I think it's the kind of game where Schalke needs to score, so there'll be a bit of space on the break. And I think with the 3 away goals, basically Schalke need a miracle. So if they're going to get anything from this game, which I don't think they'll try to weirdly, I think they'll just see what happens. But if they do, they'll have to attack us. And the space Sane will have against his former team, I think he'll be up for proving a big point. And I think Guardiola actually will start him from the front. And then Sterling, I think, will start on the right. I was thinking about Mahrez, but I think Mahrez is more likely to play against Swansea for me. I think Sterling's on fire after his hat-trick, and the fact that he came off nice and early the other day. Actually, he didn't play well in the first half, but he showed his quality, and all the talk's been so positive about him after that hat-trick. And given the fact he's nice and rested, I think he'll play in this game because he's a big game player. And then I think once again he'll persevere with Aguero, even though he probably needs a rest. I think he'll play for in this one, and then Gabriel Jesus will play against Swansea. That's the team I'm going for. So Ederson, Walker, Kompany, Laporte, Zinchenko, Gundogan, Bernardo, David Silva, Aguero, Sterling, and Sane. And on to Schalke. Well, they are a bit of a mess. Essentially, apart from the game where they nearly got something from against us, they got battered by Mainz 3-0 after that. 4-0 defeat to Fortuna, then a 4-2 defeat to Werder Bremen. They're currently sat in 14th out of 18 teams, only 4 points off relegation. As I was saying about my man Tesco earlier, Tedesco, German Tesco, whatever, they're basically very, very nervous because they're a bit of a mess of a team at the moment. So essentially, they're not in a good position. But anyway, I'm going to go over now to Ciaran Carlin. Go check out his channel, by the way, his actual personal channel. It's not about football, it's just about general commentary, and he's very funny. If you want to see him talk about football, check out Football Daily. He's on there all the time. But anyway, this is Ciaran sat in Hyde Park in the wind talking about Schalke and Manchester City.
Yes, hello. I know about Man City and Schalke, which is just random. I'm currently in Hyde Park, which is neither Gelsenkirchen or Manchester. But I'll talk a bit about Schalke. I'm not expecting anything from Schalke this game, to be honest. They've conceded 11 in their past 3 games and scored 2. Since the first leg. Tedesco is currently under pressure. I think he's probably 1 or 2 games away from being sacked. So it's a bit of a mess currently at Schalke. Before the first leg, I said to myself that the only way that Schalke will score would be bent to their penalties, and they scored 2. I think the same again. As a City fan, we should be more worried about VAR than Schalke, to be honest. They don't really pose any threat. It's all long balls. They're perfectly happy to have minimal possession. The best I've ever seen them play is probably against us, but they're just not good and they're struggling. They're 1 place above the relegation playoff in the Bundesliga, and I'd be amazed if we don't beat Schalke. They really are just bad. They're so bad. Defensively, just awful. They just can't keep it together. There's no communication. I think the only way they do get better is if they sack Tedesco. So my prediction is probably I'll go 2 on City. I bet that there'll be some crappy goal they'll get. I don't know what it'll be. It'll be a penalty, actually. Definitely, almost definitely a penalty. Lovely.
Cheers, Ciaran. He's probably right. They'll probably score a penalty, won't they? I can just see that happening. But anyway, he's probably right to be pessimistic about Schalke's chances, but positive about City's. And in general, he's got it weird, hasn't he? He's currently supporting a team now that's doing like an old City stuff and also get the good City. It's quite nice for him. But anyway, as I said, go and check out Ciaran's channel because he's a really good YouTuber. Very, 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 very funny on his own personal channel. There'll be a link on screen and the card at the end of the video because Ciaran's a sound lad, a lovely guy. Follow him on Twitter as well. Really nice. But on to Schalke again. Yeah, they aren't playing well. They are in bad form. They create very little these days. They struggle to score goals. And essentially, against us, you've got to remember, they only scored goals because we gifted them goals. Penalties. Essentially, UEFA and VAR essentially just kind of did them a massive favour. Obviously, that could happen again. But I'm expecting we'll be really focused for this game. We'll turn up onto some form of prediction. This game is absolutely massive at the moment. I think Guardiola really values the Champions League, massively so. We know he does. We know basically how important he sees it. He's been trying to get the fans involved in the competition for a long time. I'm expecting the atmosphere is going to be really weird given the current UEFA investigations into us. I'm not dreading that the UEFA anthem before I put it that way. It's going to be interesting. Going to be a lot of boos, I reckon. Whether you think there should be boos or not, I don't know. It's not up to me to decide. Not up to me to tell City fans how to act either. That's on your call entirely. I don't know when we'll move on from it all, but it definitely gives a weird edge to these nights, doesn't it? But having said that, I still think we'll get through here. I don't think this is an arrogant thing to say. I think we'll be all right. I think they will score, but I'm reckoning like a 3-1 or something like that. Something like that will do me. I go for 3-1. I think in general we've got too much quality. We'll be too focused at home. We've got the away goals, and Schalke, I think, may have their eye on the domestic competition because Schalke getting relegated would be an absolute disaster for them, and it's not implausible either. So, all being said, I think Manchester City will win this. I think it'll be a little bit nervy, but we'll get through eventually. And we'll win, and then we'll go into the quarterfinals, and that is an impressive feat. It's obviously what we should be aiming for every year, but it's decent, you know. And I suspect after that it depends who we get to see how far we go. But anyway, guys, that is just my take. As ever, say thank you to all these people scoring down my right here. These are my patrons, absolute heroes who keep this channel going. If you want to get involved, patreon.com/Esteemed Kompany. If not, just keep watching these videos. Also, let me know your predictions on the game. Let me know your predictions on the team lineup and all that kind of stuff, how you see it going. Don't forget to give Ciaran's channel a subscribe. He's a really good lad. And in general, I'll see you tomorrow after the game for a match reaction. Go check out my other videos as well, because I've done some stuff recently about Zinchenko and about transfer targets and all that kind of stuff. And subscribe if you're new, as ever. Anyway, in a bit.